Welcome to TV Toastmasters. I'm Naomi Marie Wolff, your host. Today we're visiting with Debbie Wooten. She is a certified Toastmaster, an international speaker. She's opened for Arsenio Hall, and she is a fantastic, resilient woman. I'm so excited to have an opportunity to talk with her today. Debbie, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You have so many wonderful stories about being a Toastmaster. Do you want to start with you being the keynote in Taipei?
Well, that was like the climax of my journey with Toastmasters. But it started, that was in 2015, but my Toastmasters journey started in 1987. And as I came from Chicago, I was newly divorced and had 5 small children. And I decided that I want to take my kids out of the hood and put them in the woods. So in 87, I came on a Greyhound bus with my 5 children and my baby sister. And I got into a program for low self-esteem women. They call it Displaced Homemakers class to help build our self-esteem so we can go out and find a job. And because we were always homemakers. And I talked a lot in the class. I really enjoyed the class. And so the teacher asked me, Debbie, you make a great Toastmaster. I had never heard of Toastmasters before in my life. And I'm like, well, I guess I can sell some toasters and make some extra money. I thought it was like Tupperware. I'm ready to give it a try, bring in extra income. But she found out it was a talking club. Well, that was right up my alley. All I gotta do is talk.
I love it, a talking club.
A talking club. And so I started my journey with Toastmasters, and within a few weeks of being a Toastmasters, they were having a humorous speech contest. And our teacher was pretty strict, and I was scared of her too. She said, everybody has to write a 5-minute humorous speech, and we would pick the best one to represent our club to go to the area. And I told the teacher, I said, her name was Dr. Jean Watley, who is still in Toastmasters now in Washington State. I said, I don't know anything to talk about. I'm just a mom with some kids. And she said, well, talk about that then. So I went home, and the kids were making noise and running through the house and doing what kids do. And I just started writing. And so I called my speech Supermom. So I wrote how my children, how I can feed 5 hungry children with a single chicken. And only super moms use super absorbent Pampers to wipe her brow after a hard day's work. And so I decided to be animated about it. I got a pot, a big spoon, a rubber chicken, and a Pamper. And I had a super mom apron on it, said S&M on it for visuals. And I won club level, went to area, and our club was a very diverse club. It was Black and white and Spanish women, all women. And Toastmasters was a male-dominated clubs. And here we come in, and we win area, and then I go, and then I win division, and then district. And you would have thought I won a car or a trip to the Bahamas or something. We were screaming and yelling, and all my Toastmaster girls ran up to me and was just jumping up and down with me. And the thing I did was I brought my children to the contest, and they saw their mother win. I'd never been known as a winner. I was a winner, and my children saw that. And when they saw that, it put a seed in them that they could be winners too. My mama was a winner, and so can I.
Your children went on to participate in Toastmasters.
Yes, we started a junior Toastmasters, and one of my sons, Jimmy, really excelled in junior Toastmasters and has grown up to be now a deputy state prosecutor, which you really have to know how to talk.
Now, tell me how many wins he's had.
He's lost not one case. He wins all the cases.
Now, how did he do when he was arguing his cases with you?
Oh, when he was growing up, he'd be the child that debate me when he's in trouble. But mama, you gotta listen to my side. This is what really happened. He want to go in detail and then call a witness in, and I didn't know he was practicing being a lawyer. He was practicing his gift.
From that beginning and finding out that you had that humor in you and that ability to entertain and engage, what are some of the places that has taken you?
Well, when I first started Toastmasters and going to the division at different clubs was a big experience. And then me being important, and my self-worth and value had been just beaten up from an abusive marriage. And so it was filling my confidence back up. And I, even though I was in Toastmasters, I still had to find employment. So I applied for a job at the Washington State Lottery. Didn't have a lot of job experience, but I was volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club, officer in PTAs, and I worked in a fabric store. But when my manager who was interviewing me saw that word Toastmasters, that impressed him the most, because what it meant that I was confident about my communication skills and that I wanted to be a leader. I believe in leadership, and my communication styles with different kind of people on different levels. And I got hired at the Washington State Lottery because he was a Toastmaster and he understood what that word meant.
So many of the times we hear people talk about struggling to find their voice. Sounds like Toastmaster helped you do that.
Oh, yes, because when I was being a member of Toastmasters changed my life so much. I was excited for it to do the same for other people. And so we started an 8-week Toastmasters group at McNeil Island male prison. And the speeches that came out of those young men was so wonderful, and let them know what they had in them. So when they come back out in the street, they can have a new skill, a new confidence, and make a new path. Just like I did. Toastmaster did that for me. I'm not saying leave the church and join Toastmasters like it's a religion, but I'm saying it had a generational effect on my family and me. My sister, her name is Deidre. She was very shy and kind of depressed, and I begged her to come to a Toastmasters meeting. So she came to a Toastmasters meeting, and then I got her to come to a contest. And there she met some college professors who asked her, was she in college? And she said no. And so she joined my Toastmasters group and went back to school, and now has her master's degree and has been a school teacher for the last 24 years. And it all started because she came to Toastmasters. So there was my sister, and then my children. So that's generational. And now I'm a proud grandmother of 14 and a half grandchildren, and 2 of them are in medical school. And I believe that them seeing their grandma and their parents, how important our communication skills are, the talking, not hitting. The communication skills were developed different because I was raised in a don't talk, hit somebody, fight. And so now I learn how to fight with my tongue, with my voice, and have confidence in that.
I'm so inspired by this story, and you have so many stories of resilience that are so full and rich of heart and soul. And it sounds like Toastmasters helped you to find a way to express that. So as I'm listening to you talk, I'm inspired to think about how important it is to share Toastmasters with younger people. After hearing you speak about it, I spoke to my son who is at OSU, and I said, you might want to think about it. And he pretty much is going to get involved with the Toastmasters down there. So thank you. A couple of the other things that you've talked about is this experience that you've had of taking this humor and making a career out of it, taking it beyond Toastmasters.
Yes, because I excelled in the humorous speech contest. I also did table topics, and I just won some contests for that. But the humorous speech, I found that was my niche because my whole speech was comical, and it had a lot of facts in it, but I made it comical, and people could relate with it. And so I was at work one day, and my manager had heard that Sinbad was doing a contest, and he let me off work early and told me to go get in that contest. So I did, and I performed in front of Sinbad, and I just did kind of a Toastmasters presentation for 3 minutes, and I won. And he told me, Debbie, you make a great comedian. And I had never thought about me doing stand-up. Really? He said, you can. And that's the magic word. That's the word that Toastmasters gives you. You can do it. You can succeed. What you put in it is what you get out of it. And to just go to a meeting, you would think, what big deal would that make for 1 hour a week? Could have such an impact on your life. It did.
It has also put you on stage with Arsenio Hall.
Jamie Foxx, Joe Torre, Louis Anderson, Judy Carter, lots of greats.
It's so fantastic. And I know that you've had some health issues and you're re-energizing your career.
Yes, it's enough to be a black woman from the hood and have 5 children, but then be buckled down with scoliosis, spinal bifida, and polio. On top of that, to make a successful life. Those are the extra challenges. So in Toastmasters, I took each one of those challenges and made a speech out of it. And it was therapeutic.
I loved in your show when you said you didn't know you were black till you were 7.
Yes, I did. And I did not know how to express that until I got in Toastmasters. And that's because I went to the polio school, and everything was isolated in the 50s and 60s. They segregated even disabled kids from normal kids. And then I grew up, there's no such thing as normal kids. Everybody is special. But so it kept me from knowing my real color because polio came in all the colors.
And you carry that heart with you still. Thank you so much for talking to us today. Where can I find information about you?
Well, you can be my Facebook friend, and it's a professional page, so it's not a bunch of pictures of grandbabies and me walking to the park. It's about the facts. And also on Instagram, follow me there, and Twitter. Those are the places you can find, and YouTube. You can type my name, YouTube, type Debbie Wooten up, and you can find me on YouTube, some of my speeches and things.
I've enjoyed this so much. Such a pleasure to speak with you and share a little bit about your life. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today at TV Toastmasters. Our guest has been Debbie Wooten. I'm your host, Naomi Marie Wolff, a member of TV Toastmasters. We look forward to having you visit us again. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Debbie Wooten, a certified Toastmaster, and I have been involved in Toastmasters since 1987. And with it being 2018, that's a long time to still believe in something besides God. But Toastmasters has been a life-changing corner in my life. And not only did it change my life, but it was generational. And in Toastmasters, you might say, well, what good is Toastmasters going to do for me? It can tap you into your talents that maybe you didn't even know you had. It teaches you how to use your hands, how to judge your audience, and you can use that in sales, when you're on your job. You can reevaluate who you're talking to and what kind of communication skills you should use in sales, in communicating with your students, with your faculty at work, to have more confidence in how you present yourself. Toastmasters has proven to me that it had changed my life and inspired my 5 children to be successful as I have a son that's a lawyer and a daughter who is a college professor who teaches English as a second language. And they all were in Junior Toastmasters. Yes, it was years ago, but they took that Junior Toastmasters and that seed was planted in them and it's grown. I am a Toastmaster tree and I have 5 main branches. Those are my children. And that Toastmaster tree has bloomed into 5 children who really value the way they communicate. Confidence. You say you're shy, this will get you out of that shyness. Say you don't like talking to people in public, well, this is where you need to go because you will gain and never lose when joining Toastmasters. Thank you for listening. Just check it out.
Welcome to TV Toastmasters. Toastmasters where leaders are made. My name is Allison Bennett and I'm part of the Sporty Speakers Toastmasters group. And I am here today to talk with Harlan Wheeler. He is a best-selling author, poet, inspirational troublemaker, as well as a warrior of inspiration. He's here to talk to us about his new book on zombies and our inner zombies. Welcome, Harlan.
It's nice to meet you, Allison. My new book is called Quantum Change, A Zombie Guide to Self-Help. And this book was written for people that may have inner zombies that they need to shake off and develop better habits.
I know I've had some inner zombies in my life, and you must have had inner zombies in your life. What did that look like?
When I had inner zombies, you could imagine me weighing about 60 pounds more, on the couch, eating bad food, a truckload of bad habits, not getting exercise, not doing the things that I wanted to do when I was younger. And that's because I lost that inspiration edge and that motivation and the passion. So I had to decapitate my inner zombies to move to the next level.
Well, I'm wondering how, first of all, how did you get your zombie and how did you get rid of it?
Well, I identified my zombies. Obviously, when you're overweight, you know it. Obviously, when you're not in shape, you know it, and I'm not eating healthy. And these things are all connected, by the way. So I identified them, and then I went out and found groups of different people to support the things that I needed to change. Lose weight, a group for getting out and moving, exercising, and actually into a writing and a poet class. These were all free classes, by the way. So,
And a Toastmasters group,
and
I'm sure.
Toastmasters, yeah, I'm a member of the Sandy Toastmasters, yes. Very great group of people. If you're anywhere up by the mountain, come join us every Tuesday at 6:30.
That's a great plug. So I read your book and it was fantastic. One of the things I loved about it is that you read with you write with funny metaphors as well as from real life experiences, and you have action plans. So tell us about your real life experience that happened that got you into this predicament.
Okay, well, my real life experience is from about 35 years of standing in front of salespeople. And that involves inspiring them, motivating them, recharging their batteries. So it just became like a part of me that I had all of this inside of me all the time, 35 years worth, and that's what came out in the book.
So was there a particular event that happened that kind of woke you up, or?
Well, yeah, there was, and that's in the book. It's in the beginning of the book. There was a car accident, and most self-help or motivational books don't start with a bad story, but this one did because it had to show you that I'm a real person and things happen to us along the way that can take away part of our life that we don't want taken away. And so I did have a bad experience, and I said, I just don't want to be in this spot anymore. I want to change. And that was what I called the quantum change. It wasn't over time. I identified the things I needed to change, and I did them.
So you just made a snap decision and started new habits.
I didn't even want time to think about it. I thought if I think about it, I'll back out of it, because you always think about I think I'll go to the gym today. Now I think I'll go tomorrow. Don't think. Trick yourself into doing it.
Yes, and you know what I heard is somebody said to do a 2-minute thing. Just think about the next 2 minutes. Get up off the couch and get on your way to the gym.
Yeah.
And then keep thinking that way.
2 minutes, that's interesting. Yeah. You know, I've gone to the gym knowing I just didn't want to go. And I've snuck in there with the idea in my mind that I'm just going to come in and stretch out, and that's it. And then about an hour and a half, I leave with every muscle in my body burning, because once you get there, once you start doing it, you've got that commitment. You're there.
Right.
You might as well do it. And then you can start thinking, tomorrow I'll just stretch out.
And then it becomes a habit.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a simple, easy.
Simple habit, yeah. And
Love
it doesn't take that long to develop habits. They say it takes anywhere from 7 to 14 days. So if you have bad habits, what you want to do is identify those, and then replace them with good habits. If you're sitting on the couch all day, eating fried chicken or something, and you want to run a race, you want to do a marathon or 5K or something, you know, you have to get up and go do it. And so as you develop a new habit, you're automatically getting rid of the bad habit. Because you know, if you sit there and eat that chicken again, it's going to hit you in the gut when you're out trying to run.
And then you become a zombie.
Then you become a zombie, that's right.
Well, tell us more about zombies. Are there zombies in our life? And if there are, how do we identify them?
There are a number of zombies, and I identify them in the book. There are walkers, there are crawlers, there are all types of zombies, and some people are infected and they don't even know it.
So when you're talking about zombies, do they look like Walking Dead zombies, like pieces of their face are falling apart, or?
They look like people at the mall, and they look like people at Fred Meyer's. No, but you know, I've had people say, gosh, I went to the store and everybody's just looking at their cell phone. They seem dead or something. But the zombie obviously is a metaphor for anything bad in your life.
Okay.
You know, if you're lacking any kind of desire that you might have not wanted to lose, if you're lacking that, that could be an infection from a zombie. And people can be infected, not know it, and they can rub that off on you.
So is that just being around people who are zombie-ish and picking up on their habits, or how else are?
You know, I have read just tons of self-help, inspirational books throughout the year from all the greats. And all of them say the same thing, that what happens when you try to correct yourself, you may have to lose a bunch of your friends because they want you in that same comfortable space that they know you in. They don't want you outside of that space. So, once you identify it, then you can make the decision, how much time do I want to spend with that zombie? Maybe you might want to cut the hours down, because it will infect you. It will.
So what I hear is, as you change, other people change the way they relate to you. And if you find that you're changing and losing some friends, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It might actually be a good thing. Is that right?
Yeah, it always is a good thing, I would say. Because if your friends have two choices when you're changing. They have a choice to root you on, good job, I want to see you succeed, or I liked you better when you did this. So which one is a true friend? The one that roots you on, like that one that wants to see you succeed. And why wouldn't your friend want you to succeed in anything you do? That's the kind of friends you need.
Exactly.
Right.
One of the things I love about your book is that you have action plans. And I like pragmatic, I like steps. Can you tell us about some of your action plans?
Yes, I wanted this book to be a book that you don't read and throw on the bookshelf. This book, I wanted it to set up by your desk, your computer, something that there's 3 or 4 different action plans throughout the book, so that you are participating with the book, because you're identifying what changes you want to do. And one of the most important things I've ever found when changing anything is to put it on paper. And there's been a lot of studies on this. People who write their goals out on paper tend to get there a lot better than people who just keep it in their mind, because that's like a dream. But on paper, it becomes a goal, and then a goal always has a deadline. So this book has the action plan, so it ties it all together.
I love that. And I know that some people like to type things out. I know I like to actually do the physical writing, but that's my generation, I suppose.
It is easier to type, especially if you have autocorrect.
Yes, autocorrect.
I think I'm forgetting how to write, but that puts it in the book, and then you could always look at it. So you might want to write your goals on some other kind of diary or something like that. So.
One of the stories you have in your book is as you have decapitated your zombie, you started changing the way that you behaved with your employees. And you have a story about Jimmy. Can you give us in a nutshell what that's like?
Yeah, in a nutshell, Jimmy was a young kid that came from a very rough life, living on the streets of New Orleans. A friend of mine kind of adopted him from the age of 16 to 18, but he had a bad life, and when he turned 18, he was turned over to me. And I had the sales company, and I trained him in sales. Everybody fell in love with him. He was a wonderful kid, a lot of talent, and he became one of the best salespeople for about 3 years.
And then what happened? Real quick.
Then the zombies got him.
Oh no.
Yeah, and he went downhill.
And how did you get him out of zombie land?
You know, it's like Humpty Dumpty. You can't put somebody back together again,
Right.
but it was real interesting because we tried everything.
Right.
Nothing worked. I actually narrated this into a camera. I hid across from his apartment in the bushes with my camera, knowing that he'd come out at a certain time
Yep.
to go to our meeting.
Yep.
And I took 5 $100 bills and crumpled them up on his porch. When he came out and saw the crumpled bills and started unfolding them, he went crazy. This is his lucky day.
And that's great. And I think our reader or our watchers should read the book so they can find out how he really turned around.
Yeah, when he showed up at the meeting,
Yeah.
he was all gung-ho.
I love
for
it.
this. Yeah, and that changed his whole, he had gone all the way downhill, and that day, he said, this is my lucky day. And he changed, quantumly, he changed that day. Now, the $500 seems like a lot of money, and you don't have to do that, but Jimmy worked for our company and made our company a lot of money.
That's
So,
great.
yeah.
You're such an inspiration. And before we wrap up here in just a second, I want to have you say a little bit about your Facebook page, just like 2 seconds.
Okay, I have on Facebook, I have the Warrior of Inspiration.
Yes.
And that page, every single day, 5 days a week,
Yep.
I write an inspirational quote, and I marry it to a beautiful poster, picture,
Yep.
photograph, something, and I put it on there. So if you like the page, you'll get that little motivational.
Well, this has been fantastic. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you, everybody, for watching our segment, and kill your inner zombies.
I joined Toastmasters to improve my speaking, listening, communication, and leadership skills.
Toastmasters gave me
Incredible confidence,
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 Great listening skills.
poise,
great leadership skills,
leadership skills,
the ability to speak in public,
strength,
A captive audience.
quality feedback.